Live from the tank on the campus of the College of Staten Island, CSI Sportsnet is proud to welcome you into coverage of NCAA and CUNYAC women's volleyball. Tonight, it's the CSI Dolphins taking on the Baruch College Bearcats in what will be the CUNY finale for both teams and a match that will decide heavy playoff positioning. Good evening, everybody. I'm David Pizzuto alongside Joe Foreman. And Joe, like we just mentioned in the open, it's the finale for both teams in the CUNY, and it will determine playoff positioning, and really a first-round home game is at stake.
And it's been a long time since we saw the Dolphins here at the tank. Their last home match was played as part of a tri-match, a pair of matches, back on September 29th against Maritime and NJCU. The Dolphins defeated Maritime 3-0 and then dropped against NJCU 3-1. Since then, the Dolphins have only won a single match against Medgar Evers on October 8th, and they have played many matches since then. Tough to count them all now. I'll try to do so quickly. It looks like 9 matches since that time. The Dolphins only winning one of those. So the Dolphins come in struggling a bit. A lot of tough competition over those 9 matches since September 29th, but none of that matters tonight. As you mentioned, the huge implications this matchup against the Bearcats has. Dolphins can finish as high as 3rd in the CUNYAC standings, meaning that they would host a CUNYAC tournament matchup. The Dolphins could fall down in the standings as far as 5th, which would mean that they are indeed not hosting a CUNYAC tournament matchup. Yeah,
and Joe, we're looking at the CUNY standings on the screen now, and we see that the Dolphins right now are sitting in 3rd with a record of 5-2. John Jay, they're done. They're wrapped up. They're in 4th place. They have a record of 5-3, and then you see Baruch at 4-3, and obviously a Baruch win tonight over the Dolphins would mean that CSI, John Jay, and Baruch would all fall in to a 3-way tie for 3rd place, so they would represent the 3, 4, and 5 seeds in the upcoming tournament. And the way it works in the CUNY is only 6 teams make it. The top 2 teams get a first-round bye, and then the 3 seed would host the 6 seed, and the 4 seed would host the 5 seed. So if the Dolphins came in 3rd, which they would with a win tonight, Joe, they would host the 6 seed in the tournament, and that has already been decided. That will be CCNY. But a loss by the Dolphins, depending on how many points they give up, depending on how many sets this goes, they could drop to as low as 5th, and that would mean they'd have to go on the road to take on John Jay, a team obviously, or to take on the 4 seed, a team that they defeated in John Jay or that they would have lost to in Baruch. So just there's so many different scenarios, and it may take the next 5 games, maybe less, to decide the fate of both of these teams.
Well, the most straightforward scenario you mentioned, the Dolphins win, they are the 3 seed, and that would set up a matchup with the Beavers of CCNY, who are locked in to that 6 seed. And you have to think that would be a very favorable matchup for the College of Staten Island to be played here at the tank if the Dolphins do indeed wrap up the 3 seed tonight. Earlier this season, the Dolphins took on CCNY and won that match in straight sets, taking set number 1, 25-19, set number 2, 25-21, and set 3, 25-14. That match was played at CCNY for the Dolphins. Margaret O'Malley-Rabovich had 12 kills in that match. Francesca Castellano also contributed 5 kills defensively. Castellano also led the way in digs for the College of Staten Island in that match. So a big win in that match for the Dolphins against CCNY, and you have to like that matchup if you're the Dolphins moving forward, and if they pick up a victory tonight, they do secure that matchup in the CUNYAC tournament.
Yeah, especially with the first-round home game and being able to play it right here at the tank. That game would be a week from tonight. That's the opening round, and then, of course, the semis and the final are both played on the same night. Those games get played at Baruch College. So you want to talk about Baruch wanting a big win tonight, Joe. If they were to win and they were to get a first-round quarterfinal game, then they would be at home also for the semis and finals. So big stuff on the line, obviously, for Baruch as well. A team, Joe, that's notoriously at the top of the table. They've slipped a little bit. They're only 8-15 overall, so they are struggling. 7 games over 500, teetering just over in the CUNY at 4-3. So an otherwise down year for Baruch, and they're hoping to get right here with a win against CSI and a return, obviously, to playoffs on their home court.
Well, last year, Baruch had their way with the Dolphins winning a pair of matches in straight sets, but this Dolphin team, a very different team from the one we saw last year against the Bearcats. In the regular season matchup between these two teams back last year on September 21st in 2017, the Bearcats defeated the Dolphins in straight sets. A close match through the first two sets. Bearcats took set number one 25-21 and set number two 27-25, but they really ran away with it in the third set, winning that set 25-14. In that match, leaders for the Dolphins in kills, Teresa Maresca, Vanessa Reyes, and Caitlin Esposito. And we saw in the stats from earlier this year against CCNY, O'Malley Rabovich and Castellano leading the Dolphins in kills in that match. So a very different Dolphins attack than what we saw last year against the Bearcats. A very different Dolphins team overall, and a Dolphins team that's fared much better in 2018 in terms of overall record as well. The Dolphins come into this match already having won 10 matches in 2018, including a 5-2 mark in the CUNYAC Conference.
Yeah, and you talked about Baruch's domination last year. Well, they've won 19 straight in this series with the Dolphins. You'd have to go all the way back, Joe, to 1996, the last time the Dolphins beat Baruch. A lot of the players on CSI's team were in pre-K, if not even in school, in single digits as far as age is concerned. So nobody in this building remembers the last time CSI has beaten Baruch. But the one common opponent that was really the swing is the Dolphins were able to beat John Jay 3-2, and Baruch fell to John Jay 3-2. So it kind of gives you an idea of just how close these two teams are, and it should be a really good one. Joe, before the clock hits 0 here, we will have the Senior Day presentations before that, so we'll stay on the air and break before the national anthem. But it is senior night here at CSI, their regular season home finale. They are going to honor their 3 seniors, Alexandria Bauchi-Ansa, Cassidy Yanarello, both 3-year players for the Dolphins, and then 4-year senior Liliana Vasquez as well. So it's always one of these nights, Joe, where there's extra incentive if you're the Dolphins. They want to see their seniors out on the right foot, and it should be a nice ceremony here during pregame, and we'll stay on the air to bring you that as well.
And those seniors have been a big part of what the Dolphins do. Boccianza and Yanarello starting several matches for the Dolphins this year on the attack. Boccianza contributing 39 kills this year, and defensively, Yanarello contributing 199 digs. That's second on the team, behind only Francesca Castellano. So big contributions from those two. Liliana Vasquez also contributing 58 digs on the season, along with a kill on the attack for the College of Staten Island. But Dolphins losing some key players with the senior class that will be graduating this year, brought in some big talent this year as well. So the Dolphins infusing this program with talent, a testament to the job Larry Ang has done recruiting, his first recruiting offseason this year prior to the start of 2018, able to bring on some names, as we mentioned before. Francesca Castellano last year, Margaret O'Malley Rabovich came on for the College of Staten Island, put up big numbers, and her numbers have only grown with the addition of more talent to this team in 2018 as well. So despite a talented senior class graduating, a lot to look forward to for this Dolphins women's volleyball program moving forward.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the names, Joe, who's a freshman, you mentioned the recruiting class, Ariana Spears, who in her last game with the Dolphins broke the CSI single-season record for assists in a single year. So quite the first season for Ariana, 524 assists this year, a new CSI record. So congratulations to her. That was a fantastic accomplishment. And at the front, Joe, a trio of 100-plus kills in Margaret O'Malley Rabovich, who you mentioned, Francesca Castellano, a first-year player, and, of course, Caitlin Esposito, who's also very good behind the service line as well.
And the Dolphins have been much more efficient with their attacking play this year. That has slowed down a bit over the last 9 games or so. The Dolphins, of course, only winning one of those. But I've noticed the Dolphins have been far stronger with their attacks in 2018, have been able to close out rallies more effectively than they did last year. And there have been more less empty attacks sent back the other way, where the Dolphins are forced to scramble and send the ball back over. They've been much more aggressive attacking and have been able to attack from many more areas on the floor. And that's something we didn't really see last year. So the Dolphins have done a much better job in 2018 with their attacking play, and that's seen in those numbers that you just mentioned, 3 100-plus kill players.
So, Joe, we are going to stay on the air. We'll keep our mics hot as we'll listen to the special Senior Day presentations, as the Dolphins will honor Alexandria Bauchi-Ansa, Cassidy Yanarello, and Liliana Vasquez. So stay with us as we bring you the Senior Day presentations.
We would like to honor our 3 seniors we have tonight. Our first senior is a young lady who has spent the last 3 years at the College of Staten Island graduation. Still, despite the limited time, she's been a big part of the team's successes and has been a tremendous asset to the team, both offensively and defensively. A former three-sport star in high school, her numbers have improved through each passing season, beginning in 2016 when she was named the team's Rookie of the Year at their awards banquet. So far in her career, she has amassed 87 kills on 435 career attacks, including 39 this season, a personal career high. She has also improved dramatically on the defensive side, posting 121 digs this season after coming into the year with only 33 digs over the past 2 seasons. This speaks to her play all over the court and wherever needed as key contributions to the team the very best it can be, each passing match. Although we hate to see her go after 3 years on the team, we are happy at the strides she has made and wish her well for the future. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome senior number 8, Alexandria Johnson. Ladies and gentlemen, our second senior is another player who joined the Dolphins in 2016 as a transfer from CUNYAC rivals CCNY. She has put together a tremendous career, a former center and now libero who has made it her calling to assist whenever needed, primarily as a passer and defensive stalwart on the back line. In her first season as a Dolphin, she finished second on the squad in assists and posted 52 defensive digs. Those numbers only improved last season as a junior, as she led the entire unit with 249 digs, making her a huge part of the defensive side of the court. What's more is that she was named the winner of the 2017 Strength and Conditioning Award, a testament to her rigorous on- and off-season dedication to the team. This year, she continues to serve as a backbone of the team, lending 199 digs while posting 21 aces, good for 6th on the team. Tonight, she is wrapping up a terrific 4-year career overall, looking to pull CSI further into the tournament play, and we know she will be a big factor down the stretch. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome senior number 20, Cassidy Iowa. Ladies and gentlemen, our final senior is the only 4-year member of the CSI women's volleyball team and has been a huge part of the team's development over the course of her career. Admittedly, her calling is not to load up the box score with big numbers, but her presence is very much felt with the squad thanks to her unwavering support for the advancement of the team and her true commitment to all things CSI volleyball. She has handled every role with grace, and when called upon, she has been a great defensive player who often comes in during critical moments in matches to put CSI over the top. In limited duty, she has posted just 4 attacks this season, but her 58 digs stands 7th on the team despite appearing in just 28 sets this season. Her 2 digs per set ranked 3rd on the team, lending to the fact that she has been extremely active on the back line given her opportunities, and she has registered 156 career digs to her credit. Again, more than anything, it will be her presence and dedication that will certainly be missed and will be hard to replace. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome 4-year senior number 4, Liliana Vasquez.
So, Joe, the 3 seniors for the Dolphins getting commemorative frames chronicling their years at CSI. The 3 seniors, once again, Bauchianza, Yanarello, and Vasquez. And, it's always, bittersweet nights like this, Joe, because obviously you're saying goodbye in the final regular season game to standout players as we are going to step aside for the national anthem. Stay with us.
Listen now, can you hear the bluebirds? Oh, look up now, can you feel the sun? Whoa, 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 whoa. Can you feel the sun? listen now.
Welcome back here to the Tank on the campus of the College of Staten Island. We are moments away from the first serve here at CSI, a big CUNY MAC finale between the Baruch College Bearcats and the CSI Dolphins. The starters are in, Joe, so we'll send them over to you for the introductions.
In numerical order for the College of Staten Island, the starters are number 2, Ariana Spears, number 3, Francesca Castellano, number 4, senior Liliana Vasquez, number 8, Alexandria Bocci-Ansa, another Dolphin senior honored before tonight's match. Number 13, Margaret O'Malley-Rabovich. Number 15, Jay Lagai, and the third Dolphin senior honored tonight. Number 20, Cassidy Yanarello. For the Baruch College Bearcats in numerical order, the starters are number 3, Stella Chung. Number 4, Givenchy Bohini. Number 5, Anita Singara. Number 11, Shannon Barrett. Number 16, Ada Chow. Number 22, Catherine Chen. And number 7, Wai Chang.
Yeah, Joe, so we mentioned a little bit of the CSI stars, especially on that top of the attack. And, you know, for Baruch, they have a two-headed monster, Joe, right at the top. Anita Singara, who you mentioned, 296 kills on 934 attacks. I mean, we are talking about a young lady who, as far as Baruch is concerned, they've only played 23 matches, and when you have 934 attacks, you are at the net early and often in each set.
And she's averaging nearly 4 kills a set as well, and could be a busy night for Cassidy Yanarello, the Dolphins' libero, trying to dig out some of those heavy attacks coming her way off the hand of Anita Singara. And for the College of Staten Island in this game, we did mention these two teams have one common opponent. It was John Jay. The Dolphins defeated them, and Baruch was unable to. So the Dolphins have that to look back on, though. That may not help them dig out some of those heavy attacks coming their way tonight.
Yeah, and if it wasn't enough, Stella Chung also at the front for Baruch, 192 kills in 702 attacks. So a pair of big attackers for Baruch in Chung and Singara. And, of course, the Dolphins will have to be very active at the net, especially Margaret O'Malley-Rabovich, Joe, who is CSI's leader in blocked shots, as she was last year. And, of course, the Dolphins are going to need her to get up over that net, as well as Jay Lagai, to interrupt some of that Baruch constant wave of attack.
And we've seen some great defensive play throughout this year from O'Malley-Rabovich and Jay Lagai up front, blocking shots, as you mentioned. And we also talked about just before the attacking prowess of this Bearcats team and the high kill numbers for both Singara and Chung. But the Dolphins are a more efficient attacking team so far this season, entering the match with a hitting percentage of about 13%. For the Bearcats, they're just shy of 11. So the Dolphins slightly more efficient with their attacks and able to pick up kills more efficiently than the Bearcats. We'll see if that's the case in this one. And if the Dolphins can get some quality blocks up front and get some points that way as well, it should go a long way in helping them win this match.
Joe mentioned it at the start, but the Dolphins have lost 9 out of their last 10 matches coming into this one. At one point this season, I believe they were 9-3 or 9-4. And since then, they are on the negative side of 500 at 10-13 overall. Baruch comes in at 8-15. So 2 games back in the loss column to the Dolphins, but only 1 in the CUNY standings. And like we have mentioned before, and we'll keep mentioning again, 3rd place in the CUNYAC on the line. Baruch will need a win and some help with point differential. And for the Dolphins, they control their own destiny. A win tonight, and they host a first-round CUNY playoff game a week from tonight.
You are correct, Dave. The Dolphins did indeed start 9-4.
So opening serve was for Baruch. Dolphins struggle to get it over, but do. And Baruch could use it for offense. This is Chung. Bounced down by Jay Lagai and Ariana Spears on the block assist as well. And Dolphins active up front, Joe, get the first point.
Well, I just mentioned how play at the net could go a long way towards helping the Dolphins come away with a much-needed victory in this match, and they get that play up front early from Jay Lagai, picking up her first block.
And Ariana Spears will have the service for the Dolphins. She's been very good behind the line this season. Puts that one towards the back line. It's shuffled along by Chang. This is Chung looking for that back corner. Dolphins have to play it off the facade. They do. And Jay Lagai is able to return it over. Set up nicely by Chen. Baruch able to pop it over, but the Dolphins receive it well. Castellano with a back line attack puts it over. Baruch also with a back line attack. That was Chow on that one. The Dolphins, of course, putting it back over. Not a lot of strength in these attacks so far. The Dolphins keeping it going. No one there for the Dolphins. That was a miscommunication as Jackie Roloff was backpedaling when that one was serviced to her. So both teams, Joe, defensively earning the first point of the game.
I've only broadcasted volleyball once or twice this year, but in those games, some of the issues for the Dolphins came from miscommunications up front, setting the ball for potential attackers, and that was the case there.
So Baruch with the serve. It was Chung. This is Castellano blocked down in CSI territory, and credit a couple of block assists on that one, as Barrett was in the neighborhood along with number 5, Anita Singara, who we mentioned. Chung will continue service. Her team up by 1 for the first time tonight. Spears bumps it up, sent over and into open space. Not sure who got their hand on that one, Joe, as I was being effectively screened, but in any event, the Dolphins tied up.
And you mentioned the size up front for the Dolphins and O'Malley Rabovich and Jay Lagai. Also some size up front for the Bearcats as well. You mentioned Barrett and Singara, both getting block assists on that Dolphins attack before.
Castellano with the running jump serve, sends it over. Baruch receives it well, and that one is played too hard by Stella Chung. So the Dolphins take back the lead by 1. No team has led by more than that. 3-2 in the early stages. Dolphins front line is Jay Lagai, Jacqueline Roloff, and Caitlin Esposito. Another jump serve, heavy for Chang. She receives it well. Singara, partially blocked by the Dolphins. Barrett sends it right back over. Good dig by Yanarello. Jay Lagai powers into one. Nice dig by Chang. And now Chung the other way. Dolphins keeping it alive, and Castellano sends over. Pop right back over into open space. Good heads-up play by Catherine Chen. And Baruch ties it up.
And a well-placed attack there right inside the boundary. They caught Yanarello breaking forward toward the front line and towards the net, and they dropped it in right behind her. She was unable to recover in time.
So Wai Chang will be the server. She's the libero for Baruch. Out of your screen, now coming into it, puts one in the middle of the court. Yanarello receives well. Esposito tries to work the line. It's dug out effectively, and now a 50-50 ball up front, and it's going to be won by Baruch, as it was Givenchy Bohini who got one off the fingertips of Jay Lagai. So our third lead change. CSI using this one now. Esposito towards the back line. It is dug out well by Chang. Bumped up and now sent over by Chow. Dolphins receive it well. Nifty passing. Roloff looking in the back, but it's too strong. And we have our first 2-point lead of the evening. It's the Bearcats 5 and the Dolphins 3.
And early on, Dave, these two teams appear very evenly matched. We could be in for one of our more entertaining matches of the season, and it was really personified up front by that play. Ayisi Bohini meeting Jay Lagai, both getting a hand on the ball. Point went to Baruch a couple of sequences ago.
Jay Lagai sent one over, sent right back by Baruch. Dolphins will get another chance at this. Esposito off the fingertips of the defense. Chen serves one up to Singara. And Roloff was late getting to the block, Joe, and that's what leads to an easy kill. And the Bearcats have doubled up on the Dolphins with 4 straight points.
We've seen a lot of entertaining play right around the net. These two teams both with size up front right now. Size meeting size. And the Bearcats win that last battle.
Chang continuing to serve. Good pass over to Spears. Jay Lagai pops one over. Sent back. Esposito with a beautiful dig there. Dolphins continue to play. Back line dug out by Chung. Sangara putting one down through the open space between Roloff and Guy.
We've seen a lot of attacks coming from that boundary opposite of us on the other sideline, and Baruch really working that area of the floor right now, sending heavy attacks back in the direction of the Dolphins, and they've had a lot of trouble digging those out in the middle of the court.
Sangara now with 3 kills on just 4 attempts for Baruch. Esposito, and that one's too strong and out of play. And so the Bearcats have now scored 6 in a row and are up 8-3, and the Dolphins want a quick timeout.
The Dolphins certainly needed one right there. Bearcats really seizing control of this first set early, but important for the Dolphins to note it is early in this first set, only 8-3, but the Bearcats looking strong with their attacking play right now. And we mentioned Anita Singara during the pregame, and she's proven to be a force so far in this one.
Yeah, absolutely. Like we said, just 4 attacks for her, 3 kills, and Baruch has been very active on the back line. Chung, Chow, and Chang, all with 2 digs. And for the Dolphins right now, they only have the 1 kill by Castellano and a couple of digs by Spears. Those are the early stats here. The Dolphins were up 3-2 at one point. Baruch has assumed an 8-3 lead. And Joe, we should mention too that the Dolphins have been notoriously or notorious late starters. Even in the game that they beat John Jay, that swing game that we talk about involving these 2 teams, the Dolphins lost the first 2 sets in that one. They had to come back, and they actually won 2 of the other sets. I believe it was set 3 and 5 in extra points. So they don't make things easy on themselves whatsoever, and they're going to have to pick themselves up out of a hole here.
Well, 4 attacking errors certainly won't help them, as that's already the case in this match. Another match much like that John Jay match against Brooklyn. I believe they dropped the first 2 in that match as well.
The Dolphins ended up winning 2 more against Brooklyn. That was a non-conference match as Guy puts one into open space, and Chow could only look at it. So the Dolphins respond well coming out of the timeout, and Margaret O'Malley-Rabovich is able to come back in, replacing Guy. But yeah, Joe, in the game against Brooklyn, the non-conference game, the Dolphins had lost 2 in a row, won 2, and ended up losing in that 5th set. So Chung puts one up. Sangara a little late getting there, and that one was bumped up too quickly by Catherine Chen. And so via the error, Dolphins are right back in it here. Yanarella with the serve. Cassidy Yanarello this season, 21 aces, 17 errors. That one toes the tape. Sangara puts one off the fingertips of O'Malley-Rabovich and Roloff. And the Bearcats able to get the service back, and it will be number 22, Catherine Chen, a sophomore from Queens, New York. Gets a right hand into it, and that's going to be an ace for Catherine Chen. And Baruch once again has doubled up on the Dolphins. And
the Dolphins definitely can't afford to concede points on service aces. They're having enough trouble right now with Anita Sangara attacking along that far boundary.
First ace of the game for either team. And now the response after an ace is an error by Chen. So Baruch gives one back. It's 10-6, and Roloff will be our server. Roloff puts one on the back line. Chen bumps up, and that one is nursed over by Chow, and so she will pick up the kill. Chow, a freshman from Flushing, New York. The Dolphins will get Liliana Vasquez into the game, replacing Roloff, so a defensive line substitution for the Dolphins. Sangara with the serve. It's a running start. Castellano bumps up. Spears and now Esposito hammered back down, but the Dolphins keep it alive. Esposito with another turn at it. Bumped back up by Chung. Sent over quickly. Dolphins dig it out, and O'Malley-Rabovich will get herself a kill. As Baruch tried to be a little cute with that one, Joe, put it right back over, but it did not fool the Dolphins.
Just 1 point after coming back onto the floor off the bench, replacing Jayla Guy. O'Malley-Rabovich picks up the point for the Dolphins there. The Bearcats tried to sneak that attack over. O'Malley-Rabovich was having none of it.
One of the Dolphins' best servers, Caitlin Esposito. 52 aces, leads the team. And I jinxed her, Joe, as she scores her 27th serve error on the season. And it looks like Alexandria Bauchi-Ansa, another senior, will check in for the Dolphins, replacing Esposito. And Baruch got themselves a substitution as well, as Yesli Velasco has come in, and she will serve. While she's at it, she's one of 2 captains on the team. She's a junior. Back line to Yanarello. Bumped up by Spears. Castellano off the defensive line and in. Great kill by Francesca Castellano, Joe, who's been terrific all season.
She has, and that's one way to get it through the block up front. Attempt by Shannon Barrett, and second Bearcat didn't catch who it was. Barrett, though, with good size up front, 5'10". Castellano just powered it straight through her.
O'Malley-Rabovich putting one on the back line. This is Chow sending one cross court, dug out by Spears. Dolphins have to scramble to get it over, but they do. Sangara first touch across the court to Chung, and that one, I believe, was put right back into the net and out of play. So the Dolphins, again, are right back in it, 12-9. If they could string together a couple of points here, would work their way all the way back. They've trailed by as many as 5.
Looks like they may have been kick-started out of that timeout, Dave.
Yeah. O'Malley Rabovich, a deep serve, played well, and that one is powered over by Chow. Dolphins play it. Castellano over to the corner. Sangara digs out. Baruch sends over. A turn for Jay Lagai, but she was late on the reach. And the Dolphins give it back via the error and are down once again by 4.
It's already attack error number 5 for the Dolphins early in this match.
And so Dolphins have to receive this one. They scramble to get it over. They do. Sangara, a backline attack, dug out by Bauchianza. Spears, Castellano with a running kill attempt. Now here comes Baruch scrambling. Will they get it over? They do with Chung. Vasquez to Spears, to Guy, dug out by Chang. This is Chung powering down, finding the corner. And Baruch is up by 5, matching their biggest lead.
Maybe a bit of a simple analysis, but whatever team can do a better job digging out these heavy attacks may be the team to come away with this one. It's been Castellano for the Dolphins sending over some powerful attacks. Bearcats been able to dig some of those out. Dolphins have had more issues.
Yeah, back line has been really good for Baruch, as that's going to be another ace for the Bearcats, as Bauchianza could not receive that one well. And back at it again will be Ada Chow, who's got now 1 assist under her belt. Her team up by 6. And that one once again received not cleanly by Bauchianza. So a couple of receiving errors for the senior who's in the game with her fellow seniors on that back line, Vasquez and Yanarello. 16-7 is our score. Vasquez receives that one. Spears to Castellano, and that one's powered into the arms of Barrett and Chen. The Dolphins are back in it, and seems like the Dolphins, Joe, are getting their points via Francesca Castellano at the top.
And you'd be right about that, Dave. And these two teams are pretty even statistically until those last 3 or 4 points, with the Bearcats picking up a few service aces, separating themselves in that department and on the scoreboard as well. And there's a service error committed by the Dolphins.
Yeah, the Dolphins shooting themselves continuously in the foot, Joe. You mentioned their attack errors. That's up to 5. And now a receiving error for Spears does not help, as we have Stella Chung back at the top of the order, serving for Baruch. And that one's powered down. Sangara and Barrett, the only ones home for Baruch. It's like the Dolphins are just a quarter to half a step late on just about every defensive play. Baruch is running away with this one here quickly. It's 18-10. Chung with the running start. Yanarello receives to Spears. Bounced up by Roloff. She puts it across court. It's dug out nicely by Chang. Sangara now powering one down. And Yanarello did well to catch up to it, but can only spill it out of bounds. And so Baruch with a emphatic 9-point lead, and the Dolphins have to call for time.
And the Dolphins have had no answer for Anita Sangara in this first set. Already 5 kills on 8 attacks for Sangara. Also in the set, picked up a block as well. Make that 2. And the Dolphins now trailing by 9 points in set number 1. It's been a rough start for the College of Staten Island, but they've been accustomed to tough starts throughout this season, have been able to bounce back on some occasions, and they'll hope tonight is one of those.
Yeah, so the Dolphins with 6 attack errors, 2 service errors, and 3 receiving errors. So you tally up those errors, we're talking about 11 errors in the first set alone for the Dolphins. And you look at the scoreboard, they have 10 points, Bearcats have 19, so more than half of the Bearcats' points have come off of CSI errors, whether they be on the Baruch service or in the attacking front. That's something that needs to be cleaned up, Joe. And remember, no matter who wins this one, the Dolphins have a quarterfinal game against either John Jay or Baruch or CCNY to look ahead to. So win or lose, they're going to have to play crisp, efficient volleyball during a stretch, Joe, where they've obviously struggled a great deal.
And maybe we can, when we have a break, we'll calculate it out. But we do know if the Dolphins lose this match, they won't be matched up with CCNY. So it would be either John Jay or Baruch. John Jay, a team they've beaten, Baruch, the team that they face tonight. So if you're the College of Staten Island, you'd love to secure that matchup against CCNY. As I mentioned during the pregame, they defeated CCNY handily in their match against them earlier this year, but they have a tough Bearcats team to get through to reach that potential matchup with the Beavers.
So the Dolphins trying to put something together here as Chung puts up another ace as another receiving error for the Dolphins on the back line, and Baruch is well on their way here in set number 1. Score is 20-10. Chung continuing with the serve, and this one is long and out. So Yanarello and Bauchianza communicating on that one. Dolphins get it back, and it's going to be really hard for the Dolphins here to finish this set on a 14-3 run. But you want to create some sort of building block here for set 2 and 3. Takes 3 sets to win. Castellano putting one on Chang. This is Sangara. Running start. That one powered right back. Barrett finding open space, and she will get the kill. And not a lot of power on that one, Joe, but open space does the trick.
And that's a point you hate to concede if you're the Dolphins. A weak attack dropped right into the center of the court once again, and that area has given the Dolphins some trouble up front. They're not really sure where those attacks are going, and a lot of the time they're scrambling forward with a block attempt, and they're able, or unable, I should say, to get to that open space in the middle of the front and back lines to dig that one out.
And so Chang with the service. Dolphins playing it clean. They nurse it over. Well played by Baruch. Sangara dug out by Castellano, and that's going to be a ball handling error by the Dolphins. But you see what the Baruch College Bearcats are doing, Joe, is they're going across the court on just about every attack attempt. That time they went from right to left, and the Dolphins are just a little slow getting to the area to block.
And I think that's how they've been caught out of position as well, Dave, as I'll elaborate after this point.
Baruch with another chance, this time from straight away, and Chung put that one into the net. So the Dolphins get a point via the attack error.
And I think what's happened, Dave, is the Dolphins expect that ball to be sent across the court, and because of that, you see their defensive players shifting over to that side. And if the ball is dropped into the middle of the 2 lines at that point, the Dolphins are unable to recover and get back there.
Yanarello with a short serve. Baruch scrambling, and Sangara puts one at the top of the tape and back into her own side of the net. So the Dolphins now cut the lead to 9, 22-13, as they look to piece together a run. On the service of Yanarello. Takes a couple of bounces, puts that one on the back line to Chung, straight over, and Baruch couldn't handle the attack by O'Malley Rabovich. And the Dolphins have now cut the lead to 8. And Baruch is going to call for a timeout. Head coach Kevin Edwards not liking what he saw on that last reception there on the back line.
Fortunately for his team, not a long way to go to pick up a first set victory. Only 3 points away. The Dolphins have a lot of work to do, but I said it before, the Dolphins have fallen behind in many sets and many matches, whether it be by a large point total or a set count, and they've showed great resilience throughout the year, able to come back, especially in some conference matchups. You mentioned the John Jay matchup, and I mentioned the matchup against Brooklyn. So CSI has definitely demonstrated that falling behind doesn't slow them down, and hopefully in the second set they can come out a bit stronger. Got off to a bit of a sluggish start after the match was knotted up at, or I should say the first set was knotted up at 3. Dolphins fell behind 8-3, and since then Baruch has been able to maintain a 3 to 5 point lead. That lead now up to 8.
6 of the Dolphins matches this season of their 23 have been decided in more than 3 sets, and the Dolphins have won 3 of those. Baruch with an attack attempt. Sangara almost unimpeded. Great dig by Castellano to keep that one alive. But O'Malley Rabovich can do nothing but just send it over. Another chance for Baruch, and they spill that one out of play. As that time Chow couldn't corral it in time, and now the once 10-point lead is cut to 7. 22-15. Yanarello continuing with the serve. And that one's just short. So the Dolphins give it away after a couple of points in a row, Joe. Those are killer.
And I think it went without saying that's where the Dolphins really needed to string together several points consecutively, as now Baruch is right there, only 2 points away from a first set victory. And again, another unforced mistake by the Dolphins, sending service back to the other side of the floor. And service errors have certainly been an issue, as well as receiving errors.
Sana Sumia Hadjeb has come into the game for Baruch, and she is the server. And O'Malley Rabovich, with no one in front of her, was able to power that one into the back line. She's pumped up. Dolphins cut it once again to 7. And they'll need to hold Baruch here. And it's Jacqueline Roloff. Doesn't get a tremendous amount of opportunities to serve. Joe, only 6 aces this season, 8 errors. That one's bumped up, sent over by Spears. Both teams kind of scrambling here, need to get the ball under control. Dolphins finally do, and O'Malley Rabovich puts it right through the blocker.
Well, I mentioned before that previous point, maybe 2 points ago, about the receiving errors and service errors by the Dolphins in this first set. 4 reception errors to go along with 3 service errors, and that was the difference in the score, and now it is the full difference in the score once again. But before that last point, Baruch led set number 1 by 7. They now lead by 7 once again, but those unforced mistakes by the Dolphins costing them dearly in this first set.
4 service errors for the Dolphins. Those are points that are just given away, and it's something that they're going to have to clean up in sets 2, 3, and 4. Meanwhile, Baruch is on set point, up by 7. Dolphins looking to put a wrench into that. Castellano sends over. Baruch scrambling, but it will be Chow doing the same. Dug out by Castellano. Yanarella with a backline attack. Dug out clean by Chang. This is Chung off the CSI defense. Dolphins keeping it up, and they do nurse it over. Nice effort for the Dolphins. Chow once again putting it over. Vasquez setting up Spears to Esposito off the Baruch attack. Well-earned point for the Dolphins.
And if there was ever a point that could energize this team to a late first set run of 8 consecutive points, maybe that's it right there, as the Dolphins seem to be dead in the water with that last sequence, but they were able to get the ball back over and ultimately score their 18th point.
The ball in the hands of their best server, Esposito. Chang had trouble with that. Chung has to just send it over. Here come the Dolphins, who can use this for offense. Spears, Castellano powering it in for the kill.
Not often you'll see an attack that heavy dug out, and the Dolphins will need a few more of those to wrap up this first set with a set victory. Still a long way to go, 5 points, but you have to like what you've seen the last 2 points from the College of Staten Island.
And that point starts really with that beautiful serve by Esposito. Here it is again. That one's a little bit lighter on the touch. Chung could use it. Still kept alive by the Dolphins. Castellano babying it over. Dug out clean. Chang to Chung. She nurses one over. Dolphins can use it for offense. O'Malley Rabovich has to spin to get that one. Sprawling dig by Chung. Backline attack by Singara. Dolphins scramble, can't get to it. And Baruch has taken an exciting finish here. 25-19, they take set number 1.
And that's a fitting end to set number 1 for the Bearcats. Anita Singara closing the door on a potential Dolphins comeback with her 6th kill of the set on 13 attacks. That hitting percentage dropped a bit later in the first set. Dolphins did a better job handling her in the latter portion of set number 1, but it wasn't enough.
So we're going to take a commercial break. When we come back, we will have set number 2 live here from the tank at CSI. It's Baruch leading 1-0. Stay with us.
Do you want to retire like a champ? Just like legendary basketball star Uncle Drew?
Don't do him like that, Uncle Drew!
You're already acing the game. You've got your dream ride.
Don't be slamming my door.
Sorry about that.
You just did the same.
Gotta get the boys.
Your dream vacation and your dream team. And now you can make your retirement just as legendary.
I get buckets.
Get the tips you need to get on track at aceyourretirement.org.
First time I tried Vicodin, it was laying around my mom's house. And I kept taking them whenever I could get them. I didn't know they'd be this addictive. I didn't know how far I'd go to get more.
Opioid dependence can happen after just 5 days. Know the truth, spread the truth.
No doubt you're going places, young lady.
Thank you. And thank you for the interview as well. I can imagine it was the last thing that you wanted to do after such a long campaign meeting.
You really are a very intelligent young woman. You're very smooth.
You're very smooth yourself.
You have no idea.
Welcome back here to the tank here, the campus of the College of Staten Island. The Dolphins trail Baruch 1-0. Set, Joe, where they fell behind by a great margin, 20-10, I believe, at one point was the biggest lead. Dolphins made it interesting at the end with better play, and perhaps that's more important than the result. Something to build on here for set 2.
You're absolutely right about that. The Dolphins did play much better late in that first set. Strong attacking play from Francesca Castellano all set long. The Dolphins could certainly use that for the rest of this match. And I mentioned that during the pregame they would need it in this match, but also up front, Jay Lagai and Margaret O'Malley-Rabovich providing some resistance to the Bearcat attacks in that first set as well, and the Dolphins will absolutely need that moving forward, as Anita Sangara really had her way with the Dolphins throughout that first set. Nearly half of the attacks she put over, resulting in kills during set number 1. So a good job by Sangara for the Bearcats. Dolphins will look to rebound from a tough first set, though they did play much better in the latter portion of set 1.
So Baruch served first in the first set. Dolphins will serve first here in the second. Spears is off your screen. She'll be coming in from the left. Jump serve. It is over well. Chang. And Chen could not deal with that one. That was put close to the net. And so the Bearcats get the first point. I'm not sure what happened there, Joe. Looked like there was a double touch there on the set, but maybe one of the Dolphins had come into the net.
Didn't catch it myself. I'm referring to the play-by-play, and it's officially a blocking error against Jay Lagai, so I don't know if that's what occurred, but that's the official stat for it.
And the Dolphins now at another attack error. Fall behind now 2-0 early, and that's a danger as Wai Chang will do the serving. Right-handed serve across court. Castellano puts it immediately over. She had to catch up to that one. Sangara off the fingertips of Roloff and Guy. 3-0. And, you know, kind of a strategy here, Joe, to get Margaret O'Malley-Rabovich into the rotation later in the set. But the Dolphins go with, you know, probably, a less stronger attacking line to start so that they can get heavier towards the middle, of course, late stages of the set, and right now that's backfiring here in the early stages.
Well, we saw in the first that O'Malley-Rabovich spent a lot of time waiting to get back in the game, and there's no Dolphin answer for that kind of attack. That's tough to dig out in any circumstance, but well placed and a heavy attack once again from Sangara.
Yeah, and that's the danger of not starting O'Malley-Rabovich early on in the set in the starting lineup, because Sangara is getting some unimpeded looks. Dolphins need to end this one. That one is out of play. So the Dolphins, that point I believe was given to Baruch. Now they will adjust that on the scoreboard, so it's 4-1. As we get some chants coming up from the men's basketball team, which is in full force tonight. We got a really great crowd here at CSI. Tough to see it on your screen, of course, as the crowd is behind us and behind the screens. And that one's an ace. I believe the first one of the game for the Dolphins. And the Dolphins are back in it, 4-2, as the crowd comes up again.
Dolphins faithful know a big-time matchup on the schedule when they see it, and senior day to boot as well tonight. So nice crowd on hand, as you mentioned, making some noise early in set 2.
Castellano running serve. Played clean by Baruch. This is Chung. Dug out clean by Castellano. Spears over to Esposito. Esposito puts one of power into it. And that's something that we need to see a little bit more from Caitlin Esposito. She's got a heavy hand, and she put a lot of force into that one on the back line.
We saw a couple of nice serves from Esposito in the first set. Picks up the kill there, bringing the Dolphins back to within a point.
So Dolphins with 3 straight points after falling behind 4-0. Nice hard serve by Castellano. This is Chow, I believe, running into it, and we're going to have a block error on the Dolphins anyway, as I believe Jay Lagai went under the net. Got to keep those legs inside the line, not allowed to cross that line. So Baruch avoids the tie. They're back up by 2, as Catherine Chen will be the server. Skies one for Yanarello. Spears to Esposito, back line, and we have a call. It's going to be a block error on Baruch. I believe that was against Bohini, number 4, sophomore from the Bronx. Dolphins once again down by only a digit.
And those are the serves the Dolphins need to take advantage of. A softer serve allows them to dig it out cleanly and form a clean set for the attack of Caitlin Esposito on that one. They need more of that moving forward in the second set.
Yanarello, who served well in the first set, puts that one over. We're going to have a ball handling error as that one was carried by Catherine Chen. So now Baruch with a couple of unforced errors. Dolphins on a 5-1 run have tied the game.
Unforced mistakes characterize the Dolphins in set number 1. Baruch trying to avoid seeing that befall them as well.
Chen. Now that one goes across. Chen actually put it over. Dolphins do well to scramble. Baruch will get another turn at this. Sangara across the court. Castellano did her best to keep it alive, but could not. Baruch takes back the lead, 6-5.
The Dolphins leader in digs giving it her best effort there, and she's handled some of those attacks, especially back in the first set. Saw a lot of them in set number 1, unable to handle that Singara attack there, giving Baruch the lead.
And Singara will now have the serve. Our team up by 1. She did well with the serve last set. Esposito with a tough receiving error that time. So Baruch with another ace in this one. It's a 5-1 edge in service aces so far for Baruch in this match. They're up 7-5. Singara. This one played clean by Castellano. Spears to O'Malley Rabovich, and that's what we know from Margaret O'Malley Rabovich.
And once O'Malley Rabovich got onto the floor, things began to turn around for the College of Staten Island in the second set. And you called it before, Dave. Having her out of the rotation early in the set to get her on the floor later may have backfired a bit, but now that the Dolphins have her out there, this match is beginning to turn.
Roll off, running start. Sprawling was Chang to receive it. Dolphins now able to use it. It's Esposito off the fingertips of the defense, kept alive. Chen to Chung, nursing it over. Castellano, easy dig. Spears to Esposito, cross court. Sprawling is Baruch. They can't get to it. 7-7.
And the Dolphins appear more settled in this set number 2. Some back and forth play between these two teams right now. It was a set of runs in set number 1. The Bearcats separated themselves and they 3 lead. Then the teams exchanged runs of maybe 3 to 5 points each before the Bearcats finally brought set 1 to a close. These two teams much more of a back and forth set number 2.
Roll off, painting the sideline that time. Dolphins miscommunicate again, and they give away a point to the Bearcats, 8-7. So the Dolphins yet to lead in this set. They've tied it a few times. Vasquez will come back in for roll off. And Joe, we should mention too that the Dolphins tonight are without Selena Mendez, one of their freshman stars. Mendez is recuperating from injury, and she expects to return soon for the Dolphins, but she's in street clothes, and that's a big difference on that back line for the Dolphins as well.
That's 126 digs on the season missing from the Dolphins lineup.
O'Malley Rabovich powering one down, and Baruch cannot get to it, and it's 8 apiece, and the Dolphins once again, I believe for the 4th time, have tied this one up. We'll see if they can take the lead here. It will be Esposito with the serve.
And what a set so far for O'Malley Rabovich.
So Esposito gets into that one. That's a good serve. Baruch doesn't receive it clean. They send one over, and Spears was able to get a fingertip on it, but not enough. And once again, Baruch interrupts the tie by taking the lead. We have Alexandria Bauchianza returning, and she will replace Esposito. Bauchianza with just 1 attack and 1 dig so far in the match, limited duty, and our server here will be number 16, Chow. Chow with a couple of aces in this one so far. Puts that one to Yanarello. That is not a good reception. And we have a attack error as hitting into the net, I believe was, I don't know who they said that one was against. It might have been against Barrett. Yes, it was. Double ones.
I'm no volleyball official, but I caught that one from here. Followed through straight into the net.
O'Malley Rabovich with the serve. Heavy-handed, that's an ace for the Dolphins. And their first lead of set number 2, it's 10-9.
And it's only fitting that it comes on a service ace from O'Malley Rabovich, who's having a fantastic set number 2 right now, leading the way for the Dolphins in this second set, hoping to help them extend their lead right here.
O'Malley Rabovich easily having an all-star season, 6 kills on just 8 attempts. That one's another ace. Got the benefits and a little bit of an assist from the net, but that's her second ace as well. And the Dolphins with their biggest lead, I believe, of the entire match, Joe, 2 points.
And I should add, few players out there on the floor more enthusiastic than O'Malley Rabovich after her team picks up a point.
And O'Malley Rabovich just gets that one over. Chang, this is Chung the other way. Bounce straight up. Jayla Guy able to tiptoe it through. Played well. Dolphins not clean. They have to scramble to get it over, and it's just short. Great effort by the Dolphins, but it comes up just a little short.
This Dolphins team clearly energized, and the crowd behind us is energized as well. The noise has really picked up in this second set. Chance of defense continuing to come from the men's basketball team as well. The Dolphins have stepped up their play overall in set 2.
One thing about the Staten Island fans is they appreciate hard work. no matter the result. Castellano puts one over, dug out by Singali. She puts that one. Great block by the Dolphins, but Baruch able to keep it alive. That one's tiptoed over. Great positioning there by Singara as she recognized the waiting arms of Jay Lagai and just pops one over the easy way, 11-11.
As a Knicks fan, I learned to appreciate hard work. That doesn't result in many wins. That's been the case this year and in many years past.
Chung, played by Bauchiansa. This is going to be Jay Lagai, and that one's kept in by Chung. Singara off the fingertips of the defense. Dolphins keep it going, and it's Jay Lagai who gets a poor touch on it, mistimed the jump, and Baruch now, thanks to a 3-0 run, have taken back the lead.
And Baruch has really stifled the momentum of the Dolphins with those last 3 points that they've picked up. Thought maybe a timeout might come from the Dolphins bench. No timeout yet.
Castellano. Spears, this is going to come back to Castellano. She's rejected. Dolphins keep it alive, but can't do anything with it. And Baruch now, thanks to a 4-0 run, are back up by 2. Chung with the service. She will get a running start. Puts one over to Yanarello. Spears putting one right back over. It did not fool Catherine Chen at the top of the net for Baruch, and now they have taken back the lead. It's 3 points, 14-11. And that's piped down this CSI crowd, willing the Dolphins here to get back into this one. Bauchiansa, a long run for Spears. Nobody home for the Dolphins, and they just send it over. Dolphins need a timeout here, Joe, in the worst way.
Yeah, I think it's coming, and it is. As you can usually predict when those timeouts are coming from Larry Yang, and they certainly needed one right there. A couple of miscommunications, especially that last one, something that you don't expect to see this late in the season. Earlier in the year, these teammates, Dolphins players, getting familiar with one another early in the year, learning where to expect one another to be out there on the floor. But this late in the season now, the final match of the regular season, the Dolphins with miscommunications like that up front, definitely surprising given their success overall this year, especially in comparison to last year. And here in the second set now, mistakes once again plaguing them.
Got to yell at Andrew Campora, who's on his phone right at the right in front of his boss, Joe. That's going to get a talking to later.
He got a name drop on air. That's never good. It's never good. Well, we do have a break in the action, so I'll take a look back to the one common opponent between these two teams, John Jay. I had that queued up earlier during the pregame. I actually have the Dolphins numbers against the Bloodhounds in front of me right now. And in that match against John Jay, Dolphins dropped the first 2 sets, 27-25 and 25-19, then won sets 3 and 4, 25-20 and 25-15. Wrapped up the match in 5 with a 17-15 win in the final set. So that's what the Dolphins did against John Jay, the other team involved in this potential 3-way tie. When we have another break, I'll share what Baruch did against the Bloodhounds as well.
Chung bounces up to Spears, mistimed it. That was a poor pass to start things off.
Baruch now extending their lead to 5, and the Dolphins are slowly watching the second set slip away when it appeared as if they had seized control of it early on.
And as a missed time, and now the run goes up to 8-0.
These miscommunications on the part of the Dolphins now becoming gravely concerning as climbing out of a 2-0 hole. No easy task, especially against this Bearcats team.
So Spears tries to nurse that one over. Barrett to Guy. Castellano. Chung keeps it alive. Chen. Singara, and that one is out of play and off the CSI defense, so it's 18-11. The Bearcats on a 9-0 run.
It's been a remarkable run for the Bearcats. They've seemingly had everything go their way, and the Dolphins on the other side of the floor, miscommunication after miscommunication. We've seen 3 errors that are the result of players just not knowing where their teammates are on the floor, not knowing where to go with the ball when they receive it.
Dolphins out of sorts here, need to put an end to this one. Castellano, that one is too far out of play, not touched by Baruch. And so now the lead is 19-11, and man, oh man, Baruch on a tremendous run here, 10-0 after CSI took their biggest lead of the entire match. That one on the back line, Vasquez, Dolphins scrambling. They are able to get it over, but let's see if Baruch can use this for offense. Singara, dug out by Castellano. Spears back to Castellano. Fingertip off the defense and out of play, and the Dolphins have finally interrupted the run and have cut the lead to 7.
This may have been the case for the last 3 or 4 points, but the Dolphins were in desperate need of a point to break the Bearcats' run. Would have liked to see that run come to an end sooner. Unfortunately, they have to wait 10 straight Bearcat points to score their 12, but CSI now trailing by 7 will serve. And give it right back to Baruch, straight into the net.
Just giving away points at this point. And the Dolphins here victimizing themselves and victimized by good play by Baruch. They are 5 points away from taking a commanding 2-0 edge.
Pull up that error tally in a moment. There's another receiving error.
Yep, that's another ace for Baruch. And so the Dolphins will call for time as they are now down once again by 9.
And that is receiving error number 8 for the Dolphins. So they cleaned it up a bit after the first set. Actually, I believe that's the same number in both the first and second set, 4 in each, so not necessarily cleaning it up. The service errors have been cleaned up, only 1 in this second set, but it hasn't mattered. It's been all Bearcats in set number 2, and I did promise very quickly the Bearcat stats from that match against John Jay, and it was really the mirror image of the match that the Dolphins played, reflected with the Bearcats winning the first 2 sets and then dropping the final 3. Set number 1, 31-29 in favor of Baruch. They won the second set 25-22 and then dropped the final 3 sets convincingly, 25-14, 25-15, and 15-7. So John Jay really seizing control of that match in the third set. And the way things look tonight, the Dolphins may be looking to do that against the Bearcats as well.
But the Dolphins right now, once again, looking for some kind of a building block here for the rest of this match. They're hoping it doesn't end quickly. But right now, Baruch is up by 9 points, and the Dolphins would need a run similar to the one that Baruch just finished. Dolphins were up 11-9 in this set, in case you joined us late. Baruch since then a 12-1 run. And they have the service of Wai Cheng. Sophomore bounces it a few times, goes across court to Castellano. Roll off, blocked, but the Dolphins will have another chance. Castellano puts one on the back line to Chow, sent by Singara and in to open space for the 10-point lead.
That's rough. I'll go retrieve that ball from underneath the bleachers, but Dolphins continue to struggle, now down 10.
So Joe goes off headset to retrieve a lost ball. 22-12 is our score. Baruch 3 points away from putting the finishing touches on set number 2.
I return with a souvenir, Dave.
Joe has a souvenir. Spears puts one right back over. Baruch had to scramble, but they get to it. And we're going to have a whistle against the Dolphins, a block error on Ariana Spears. So it looks like Baruch is going to coast to a set 2 victory. And, you know, for all the positive things that we've said about the CSI Dolphins really ending that first set, Joe, you got to give Baruch a lot of credit. They've had 2 really big runs, one in the first set and one in the second set, to really keep the Dolphins at edge the entire time.
Well, I spoke about how the first set was a set of runs, and here in the second set, it was more back and forth through about the first 20 points. Dolphins led 11-9. Since then, all Baruch outscoring CSI 15-1 through the last 16 points, and then are on the doorstep of a second set victory.
So 1 point away, up by 12. Castellano putting one up, and getting there a little bit late was Chung. So the Dolphins will have the service with Baruch looking at set point. Caitlin Esposito back in the game. And you know, Joe, a big part of this is that for this run and for a lot of the play, Margaret O'Malley Rabovich has been on the sidelines for the Dolphins, and this CSI team is a different team when she's not out on the floor.
And we saw it in this set early when the Dolphins took the lead. It was O'Malley Rabovich propelling them forward.
Dolphins keeping it alive. Roll-off, cross-court. That's a nice placement there for Jacqueline Roloff. And it cuts the lead now down to 10, 24-14.
We saw the Bearcats rattle off 10 straight in this set. If the Dolphins can do it, they would get to within a point, 24-23. They'll need more than that, but 10 straight points, certainly a possibility. Why not 11?
Running start for Castellano. Puts one on the back line. Played by Chen, or Chow, I should say. Dolphins will have a chance here. Jay Lagai, right-handed, powerful kill attempt, kept alive. Sangara off the defense of Guy and Roloff. So Baruch gets the point that they were looking for, and they win set number 2, 25-14. And Joe, it's going to take a big comeback for the Dolphins to get to this one.
It certainly will, Dave, but we've seen it done before. The Dolphins getting to a 5th set and falling and winning 3 straight sets to close out a match this season. So Dolphins will need 3 straight to clinch the number 3 spot in the CUNYAC standings and host a CUNYAC playoff game. We'll see if they can get it started in set number 3 when we come back.
All right. We'll step aside, take a break. When we come back, set number 3.
Do you want to retire like a champ? Just like legendary basketball star Uncle Drew?
Don't do him like that, Uncle Drew.
You're already acing the game. You've got your dream ride.
Don't be slamming my door.
Sorry about that.
You just did the same.
Gotta get the boys.
Your dream vacation and your dream team. And now you can make your retirement just as legendary.
I get buckets.
Get the tips you need to get on track at aceyourretirement.org. Do you want to...
First time I tried Vicodin, it was laying around my mom's house. And then I kept taking them whenever I could get them. I didn't know they'd be this addictive. I didn't know how far it'd go to get more.
Opioid dependence can happen after just 5 days. Know the truth, spread the truth.
No doubt you're going places, young lady.
Thank you. And thank you for the interview as well. I can imagine it was the last thing that you wanted to do after such a long campaign meeting.
You really are a very intelligent young woman. You're very smooth.
You're very smooth yourself.
You have no idea. No doubt.
Welcome back here to the Tank, campus of the College of Staten Island, a match that determines big playoff implications, namely a first-round home game in the playoffs. And right now it's been all Baruch, 25-19 and 25-14. But the Dolphins have been in this situation before. They've battled back before. And for Baruch, they are looking to get themselves in a 3-way tie for 3rd place, Joe. And then from there, we'll see what the tiebreaker scenarios are. But I will say this, if Baruch wins in 3 straight sets, or if they win in 4 sets, then the Dolphins would definitely finish in 5th place, because at that point they would have taken the least amount of sets in between those 3 teams. So in order for the Dolphins to even think about tie-breaking procedures for 3rd and 4th place, they need to win 2 sets. So that becomes job number 1 for the Dolphins. If they lose in this one, they're going on the road for the first round.
And if they do go on the road in that round 1, it will either be against this same Baruch College Bearcats team or the Bloodhounds of John Jay College. And which team they face could be a very big thing for the Dolphins moving forward into the CUNYAC tournament. They defeated John Jay earlier this year, and if they drop straight sets to Baruch, 3-0 in this match, and have to then go on the road to take on the Bearcats, it's going to be an even tougher task than what we saw tonight. And for the Dolphins, they'd hope to get Selena Mendez back for that match. Not sure about her status, but overall, the Dolphins match tonight against the Bearcats has been plagued by miscues, miscommunications, errors, and look at the hitting percentage for both sides. The Bearcats up around 24%, the Dolphins shy of 10, so CSI absolutely needs to improve on that.
Yeah, the Dolphins have actually attacked more in these first 2 sets. You wouldn't know it by the final scores. They get the first attack of this first set, dug out clean. Chung has her attack put right back onto her side. Sangara from the back line, dug out by Yanarello. Spears, Castellano, and she gets the first point of set number 1. So the Dolphins again begin with O'Malley Rabovich on the bench. So they need this front line, Joe, right here. Jay Lagai, Castellano, and we'll have our first look from Cassandra DiPietro. For the Dolphins. And that one is powered down, and that will be a kill from Singara.
It's more of the same from Singara for the Bearcats. It's been Nita Singara leading the way. That kill number 14 on the match. For the Dolphins, it's been Francesca Castellano leading the way with 7, but Margaret O'Malley-Rabovich with 6 kills on 8 attacks as well for the Dolphins. Big match for her.
So Chung with the service. Spears sets up for Castellano. It's on CSI's side. They do dig it out. Nice job. Jay Lagai. Singara with the dig. She'll have a turn at the attack. Kept alive by the Dolphins. Vasquez. This is Castellano looking for open space. Chow, Singara, kept alive by the Dolphins. Castellano, nice pass. Dolphins able to send it over. Chang, Singara, blocked down, out of play. And Baruch has themselves their first lead.
And throughout that entire rally, one opportunity after another on the attack for Singara, and it just seemed like a matter of time before she picked up a kill. The ball winding up on her hand time and time again. The Dolphins forced to scramble to get it back over more than once.
So CSI looking for some offense here. Castellano on the back line, sent across. Singara dug out by Castellano. Spears back down by Castellano. Singara once again from across the court, getting attempts. Jay Lagai powered back down by Barrett, and that did not fool Shannon Barrett, who's had a very low-key game in this one, but she's been one of the best at the top of the net for Baruch, and she gives the Bearcats a 2-point lead.
And both times the Dolphins have tried that, getting that ball chipped over the head of Barrett. She was having none of it, sent it right back down in front of that CSI front line.
DiPietro puts one over her first attempt. Singara into open space. And I'm not sure about rotations, Joe, and things like that, but the Dolphins just starting out so slow because O'Malley-Rabovich is just not starting games is kind of perplexing. I think the CSI coaching staff know more about volleyball than I will ever, but it just seems like the Dolphins are a different team without her in the lineup.
It doesn't seem that way, Dave. They are a different team without her out there. You can see it from here, and I'm sure everyone in the building can as well.
And Baruch will go up now 5-1 as the Dolphins struggling here in the early stages, as they did in set number 1 and as they did in set number 2.
Just look at the numbers. O'Malley-Rabovich, a couple of aces, 6 kills on 8 total attacks, and she's been everywhere for the Dolphins when she's been out there on the floor.
But she has to wait for the rotation to take place before she can come back in. Iannarello bumping up. Singara again, uncontested, just easy kill after easy kill. The Dolphins will ask for a timeout, but again, Joe, in a huge hole.
And they've had no answer for the attacks of Anita Singara at that end of the floor. Even when they have a block set up in the front, 2 players there waiting for the attack. Singara gets the ball off the fingertips. It rolls over, sometimes into vacated space where the Dolphins can't dig it out, perhaps even forcing them to scramble and getting down low to the floor to bump the ball up in the air. Whatever the case has been, Singara's attacks have resulted either in kills or forcing the Dolphins to really scramble and get the ball back over. When they have sent over some heavier attacks in this third set, Baruch's been able to dig them out.
Yeah, absolutely. So the Dolphins in a little bit of a hole. Joe, we should mention once again, a tremendous crowd has joined us in the stands. The entire men's basketball team. We see some CSI volleyball alumni in the house, a lot of parents, friends, and Joe, a lot of people at home listening to us as well. I want to say hello to my wife, Jennifer, who, as always, listening and following us closely, is excited about the game so far, but wants to see a CSI comeback, same as we do.
And so do the fans behind us. They were energized early in that second set. And if the Dolphins can put together an early third set run, you know those fans will get right back into this game if the Dolphins give them a reason to. But right now, CSI struggling for points, trailing by 5 as the clock winds down to 0. Service belongs to the Bearcats, leading 6-1 in set number 3.
Stella Chung will have the serve, as she has for the past few points. Jay Lagai sends one out of play, so the Dolphins now down by 6, 7-1. Baruch on a 7-0 run since the Dolphins scored the opening point on a Castellano kill. Both teams very similar with attacks. The Dolphins have 76 attacks, Baruch 74, but that hitting percentage has been tremendous for Baruch. Castellano with an attempt. Paints the line, kept up by Chang. And Sangara could not get to that one as that pass was a little errant. I think it hit into the antenna at a play on the far side. So the Dolphins now will get one substitution in. It's Bauchianza, who will go to the front of the line, replacing backliner Liliana Vasquez. And Francesca Castellano will have the serve. Chang. Sangara powers one down. That was a nice dig by the Dolphins. Jay Lagai nurses one back over. Bumped up by Chen. Sangara, once again, she didn't have a lot of defense screening her on that one, as that one registers a point for Baruch, so they're back up by 6, 8-2, and it will be Chang with the serve, a sophomore from Staten Island, New York. She went to McKee Staten Island Tech here locally. Bauchianza puts one into open space, and a sprawling Ada Chow couldn't get to it. And now, finally, here comes Margaret O'Malley-Rabovich. And not a moment too soon as the Dolphins find themselves down by 5. We'll see the spark that she can provide.
Dolphins in desperate need of a reason for optimism. Hopefully she can provide it.
Baruch sprawling to get to that one. They finally do. Here comes a set for O'Malley-Rabovich. It's blocked, but out of play, and the Dolphins get the point.
And she immediately makes an impact up front, picking up the kill and picking up right where she left off. The last time she was out there on the floor, we mentioned her great hitting percentage in this match, and she raises it quite a bit with that kill right there.
Joe, she's got 7 kills to lead CSI in just 9 attacks. Castellano has 7 as well, but she's done it in 25 attacks, so it just gives you the indication of just how efficient O'Malley-Rabovich has been. Dolphins down by 3 now with Iannarello the service. Puts that one just over the tape. O'Malley-Rabovich just powers it through, and the Dolphins down by 2.
And that's as heavy an attack as we have seen from the College of Staten Island in this one. And when that attack is coming from dead center up front, that is very difficult to dig out. If it's not blocked, you can almost always count on it going for a kill. Even if someone does get some arms on it on that back line, it's not often it will be dug out cleanly. Great job by O'Malley-Rabovich once again.
The Dolphins taking that risk, falling behind early for the chance to come back, and that time Iannarello puts one over the tape and out of play, so 9-6 now. Baruch gets back the 3-point lead via the error. For the Dolphins now 6 service errors in the match. That one put into shallow space. O'Malley-Rabovich with a powerful kill attempt, kept alive. Sangara off the fingertips of the defense. Castellano, Spears, and Rabovich, and that time we have a block for Baruch. That might not have gone over the tape that time for O'Malley-Rabovich. I'm assuming that will be her first attack error. It will be in 12 attempts. Baruch back up by 4. Catherine Chen is our server. Iannarello past the Spears. Bauchianza puts that one over. Sangara. Castellano, nice dig. Bauchianza, another attempt, goes across court, dug out nicely. Sangara, another kill attempt, dug out clean by Castellano. Spears and O'Malley-Rabovich, dug out again by Chang. This the other way by Chow. That was Chow. Yes, it was, but the nice block by the Dolphins into open space. Dolphins needed that point badly, Joe.
And a good setup there by the Bearcats, trying to go in the other direction. We've seen so many balls set to the left side. The Bearcats left. Dolphins were ready for that ball set to the opposite end of the floor and set up the block nicely, preventing that from getting over.
Cassandra DiPietro puts one right over the line. Sangara this time from the right side. DiPietro sprawling gets to that. Dolphins do get it over. Kept alive by Chang. Chen to Sangara, and she finds open space on that back line. And for all the great things we've been saying about Margaret O'Malley-Rabovich, how about Sangara? Anita Sangara, their leading attacker, has 41 attacks tonight, 19 kills. Her attack percentage is .415. That is just tremendous, off the charts by Sangara. And she's going to serve to boot. Her team up by 4. This is O'Malley Rabovich, and that time she's very heavy on the kill attempt, and it's what the Dolphins want. They got O'Malley Rabovich right in the middle with Singara, her counterpart, Joe, now playing on the back line, can't interfere with her attacks. But this works, Joe, if they can keep serve. And let's see if Bauchianza can do it. Puts one over, out of play.
And these errors, Dave, throughout the course of this match have really been killing the Dolphins. You can't say it enough. Whenever the Dolphins have had momentum, in many cases it's been just an unforced error that has given service back to the other side, being the Bearcats. And Bearcats playing very well in this match in their own right. And if you give them these opportunities and free points up there on the scoreboard, they are going to make you pay for it. And in most cases, it has been Anita Singara making sure that service stays with her team.
Yesli Velasco will be the server. She's serving it from way downtown. Pumps a fist into that one. Spears to Castellano. Heavy kill attempt sent right back over. Dolphins will be able to do it again. O'Malley Rabovich off of Barrett into play. Dolphins back down by 3.
And not only is O'Malley Rabovich picking up kills, but she's doing so when there's a nice block set up right in front of her. It really hasn't phased her attacking play at all. And tremendous attacking play by O'Malley Rabovich throughout this entire match.
She gets the serve now. See if she can help her own cause. Sent up, Singara. Backline attack in play. That's a beautiful attack by Singara. She's not allowed to go past the attack line, Joe, when she lays into that. And she launched herself from behind it and got a good, clean kill attempt on that one. Nice job.
Hasn't seemed to matter where she is on the floor. She finds open real estate to pick up kills.
Dolphins trying to keep this alive. They do. Into open space. Chung. Back to Chung. Open space, wide open in the back corner. Dolphins are in trouble here because they were behind by 5 when O'Malley Rabovich came in, and now they're down by 5 again, and she's out through the next 3 rotations, so next 2 rotations. Dolphins need to get these points back. Ada Chow from right at the line sends one over to Vasquez, kept alive. DiPietro and the Dolphins can only put one back over. Chung across the way, sends one over weakly. Dolphins set it back over, looking for open space and out of play. Too strong was Catherine Chen.
Dolphins trailing by 4 in desperate need of a run of their own. We've seen the Bearcats put together a couple of big runs, one in this set, one in the previous set. The Dolphins need to get some separation for themselves. Maybe then they can afford a mistake or two, but the amount of mistakes they've made, they can't afford to be playing from behind in this third set much longer.
So Spears puts one into the net. The Dolphins now with 8 service errors in this match, and that's 8 too many if you're head coach Larry Yang. Dolphins got to get that cleaned up here, and they are running out of time. 15-10, they trail. Stella Chung will be the server. She's been brilliant behind the line tonight, and she's going to put another ace on the board for her. That's her 4th of the game. She's having an evening for sure. Dolphins down by 6, and Alexandria Bauchianza will come back in, replacing Vasquez. If the score holds, the Dolphins will finish 5th in the conference with a 5-3 record, a 3-way tie for 3rd. Dolphins trying to keep their hopes of a home playoff game alive. Bumped up. Dolphins send it back over. Baruch, Singara. This is Castellano on the back line. Great dig by Chung. Singara again. Babies that one over. Dug out by Spears. Guy sends over. Singara again. That one heavy-handed. Bauchianza keeps it alive. Dolphins with a chance. Castellano sends it back line. Chen sends over to Singara, and that one is just out of play. Just out of play. That was close, Joe.
And that gives service to Francesca Castellano, and the Dolphins really need to make the most of it. That was very close along that back line. Big call going in favor of the Dolphins, and now is the time for CSI to turn this match around. They don't have many points to play with here.
I trust Juliana Critella's eyes more than my own, Joe, as I believe that one hit Stella Chung, who wasn't expecting it, on the upper shoulder or side of the face. Dolphins down by 4. Castellano has been brilliant defensively tonight. She does have 7 kills on 29 attempts, but 14 digs is double what the closest other player has for CSI. Vasquez has 7. That one into open space. Another ace for Castellano. That's her team leading 3rd now on the day. And the Dolphins down by 3. That one high in the sky. This is Chen to Sangara. A little deeper than what she would have liked. Dolphins getting to it. They have to send it over. They do. Nice job by Castellano. Chen to Sangara. Another attack, and that one's off the defense. Jayla Guy patting herself on the chest, saying, yep, that's on me. 17-13 now is our score, as we will have Bohini coming back into the game, replacing Velasco, and the service will belong to Wai Chang. Chang tonight, 1 ace, 1 error behind the service line. She puts that right into the middle of space. Spears sets up DiPietro. Dug out cleanly. This is Chen putting it back over. And Jayla Guy too strong with the kill attempt. And Baruch back up by 5, 18-13. Dolphins running out of time here.
Another mistake CSI couldn't afford. Plenty of open space in that back left corner. Instead, they send it over the back line right down the middle of the court.
Chang with the serve to Castellano. Bauchianza got a lot into that one. That one sent right back over by Chen. Castellano plays up, and that one is put into the net by DiPietro. A timeout called by the Dolphins. They are down by 6. 19-13, and Joe, Baruch College has beaten the Dolphins 19 straight times, dating back to 1996. In that span, the Dolphins, I saw this before, the Dolphins have only taken 3 sets along the way. So you're talking about 19 matches over the course of the last 12 years. The Dolphins have only won 3 sets in the series. They're going to have to win 3 sets, coming down by 6 here in set number 3 just to get a chance to win this one.
And I think the big concern for the Dolphins right now is that the mistakes they made in the first 2 sets, which put them in a hole, are the same mistakes they're making right now. Service errors, some attacks inexplicably straight into the net, and miscommunications really throughout this match. We've seen it with players both going to receive serves, colliding with one another, attempting to dig out some attacks that have come over a bit more softly, 2 players converging on one another and making it impossible for either one of them to send it back over the other way. And of course, the attacking play of Anita Singara deserves a ton of credit as well. It hasn't just been the Dolphins and unforced mistakes. Singara once again having a tremendous match, adding to her huge kill total on the season here again tonight.
Dolphins have Esposito and O'Malley Rabovich on the bench. They want to get them in, but they need rotations to do it. Castellano, who never comes off the court, sends one through. Singara off the top of the tape. That one did not go over, so CSI will get a point after 4 straight touches, and Margaret O'Malley Rabovich comes back in for the Dolphins. They are down by 5, and they need good serves here, Joe. There's no 2 ways about it. They cannot afford service errors.
We saw a couple of good serves by Castellano. Dolphins hope to capitalize as they pick up the service ace right here. They got 2 aces out of Castellano last time she served for CSI. Now it's Iannarello picking up the service ace, bringing the Dolphins to within 4.
Her first ace of the match. Puts the Dolphins down by 4. Dolphins need to string a few more together. Chang bumps up to Chen. Singara, unimpeded, throws that one down. And now the Bearcats are 5 points away from victory.
And I'm not sure there's any way the Dolphins could have blocked that, even if they were positioned perfectly. Singara really got on top of that ball, and if the Dolphins get hands on it up front, it's going straight back down in front of them on their side of the net, so that would have been of no help, of course.
Chen with the serve. Dolphins looking to use it. Bauchianza too strong. Past the line, and Baruch now 4 points away, up by 6. Dolphins without the services of Selena Mendez tonight. Certainly a little bit shorthanded, or more than they wanted to be, as they send that one over. But they're in a hole here. Singara, who's been brilliant tonight, sends one over, dug out by Castellano. O'Malley Rabovich, dug out by Singara. She wants it back. She won't get it. Instead, it's Chow, dug out by Castellano. Bauchianza flubs that one, and the Dolphins down by 7. 3 straight errors for the Dolphins on their last 3 Baruch points.
Well, I said this about the Dolphins in their matchup with the Baruch College Bearcats in men's soccer. Baruch fell in that game 4-0, but got a late season look at the Dolphins. Hopefully this women's volleyball team will benefit from a late season look at this Bearcats team, because it doesn't look like they'll come away with a victory in this match tonight.
Yeah, so the Dolphins, who fell 25-19 in the first set, 25-14 in the second set, are staring down the barrel of a straight set loss here to Baruch. Dolphins with Spears sending over, sent right back by Bohini. Bauchiansa, that attack heavier, but dug out by Chung. Singara trying to find open space, can't. Castellano sets up for DiPietro, dug out by Chung. Baruch is scrambling, now they get it over, but that one hits the top of the netting, so that's going to be an automatic point for the Dolphins, who have now cut the lead to 7. 25-13, and Cassandra DiPietro this is only her 5th match of the season. Baruch scrambles, getting that one over. Nice job, and no one home for the Dolphins, as we don't know what happened there.
Incredibly fortunate bounce for Baruch.
Yep.
They tried to dig it out. The ball moved laterally across the back line, and I think it was Singara who was able to bump it up in the air and allow her team to send it over.
And who better than Singara here with the serve? She has 51 attacks tonight. O'Malley Rabovich off the fingertips of the defense, kept alive by Baruch. This is Chung all the way down, but too strong. The Dolphins will have another chance to interrupt. Chance of Larry coming up from the crowd. Men's basketball team showing love to their head coach, Larry Eng, in his 2nd season. Yanarello bumps up. Spears to O'Malley Rabovich. Cross court. Dug out by Chang. This is Chow. Put right back. Singala. This is Chung. Trying to find the line. Sent over by Spears. Baruch now. Chen. O'Malley Rabovich. Chow with a touch. This is Chen. And now Chung. Dug out by Bauchiansa. Kept alive. Dolphins send it over. This is Chen. Back to Chow. Stays at the top. And finally the error by Chow. 24-18 is our score.
Last time I heard of Larry chant, it was directed at Chipper Jones of the Atlanta Braves.
Exactly.
That was many years ago. He hasn't been in the league for a long time.
Bauchiansa getting that one in. This is Chow trying to redeem herself. Blocked and into open space. The Dolphins down by 5 now after being down by 8 getting this serve. They've scored the last 3 points. They have got to be perfect from here on out for a chance. 24-19. Bauchiansa running start. Gets it over the tape. Chang. Chen, and now Singara sent it over. Castellano crossed the court, dug out nicely by Chang. This is Chung into open space, gets the line, and Baruch has themselves a 25-19 victory. So Baruch in straight sets, beating the CSI Dolphins 25-19, 25-14, 25-19, and Joe, it is confirmed, at least by us unofficially, the Dolphins will finish 5th in the CUNY Athletic Conference, a finish of 5-3 in the conference play, and they'll face either Baruch again or they'll face John Jay. No matter, next week is the quarterfinals, and the Dolphins will have to build on this effort and go on the road.
Well, I think the one positive you can take away from this match if you're the Dolphins, the mistakes that really beat you in this one, a lot of them were unforced mistakes that you made on your own for the Dolphins in this match. 8 service errors and 9 receiving errors. Sometimes you can't do you can't receive the serves cleanly. Some good serves come over, some fluky bounces off the top of the net, but in many cases the Dolphins simply miscommunicated. That can be fixed, but Anita Singara for the Bearcats in this one is a handful, and the College of Staten Island really didn't have an answer for her in this match. On the match for Singara, 22 kills on 52 total attacks, also contributed 9 digs and Leading the way for the College of Staten Island in kills was Margaret O'Malley-Rabovich, and she was on the bench for a lot of this one, subject to the rotation, not always out there, especially early in sets. The Dolphins may choose to change that in a potential conference tournament matchup with the Bearcats. It will either be Baruch or John Jay to face the College of Staten Island. I'm not sure if it's confirmed which of those two teams it will be yet, but we'll find out in the coming week.
Yeah, so also Castellano with 7 kills for the Dolphins, 18 digs. She was very good defensively tonight, but Baruch was defensive all game long, and they had Stella Chung with 17 digs. They had Chang with 16, and they had Chow with 13. So they were very good defensively as well, and it was the service that really killed the Dolphins tonight. They, as far as aces were concerned, Baruch had 9 of them, and then when you look at the service errors for the Dolphins, they had 8 of them. So as Joe, just like you mentioned, just a reinforcement through numbers, Dolphins just hurting themselves in some ways. And now, Joe, they have to deal with the fact that they're going into the playoffs having lost 10 out of their last 11 matches. They're 10-14 overall. They've certainly made some impressive steps and impressive leaps this season, but they're staring down a big losing skid here and a tough month of October. And they get a week now to try and get it right and go on the road. But in your estimation, what do they have to do here to have themselves a strong playoff run?
Well, they certainly have to clean up the errors, and they need to take whatever they can from this match that they saw on the Baruch side, analyze it, and hopefully build a game plan around it. I spoke about how the Baruch men's soccer team saw the CSI Dolphins men's soccer team late in the year, could face them down the line in the CUNYAC tournament. So a late season look at that Dolphins men's squad might help the Baruch team, and this women's volleyball team needs to take this game, go back, look at some of our game film that we'll provide for them, and hopefully take some things out of it that they can use to better perform against the Bearcats should they meet them again in that quarterfinal round or potentially later in the CUNYAC tournament. Of course, John Jay, a team CSI is already beaten. They have a recipe for success against them, and they'll need to put one together against this Bearcats team if that is the team they face.
So, Joe, we will step aside and end this, but before we do, this was our final women's volleyball broadcast of the school year here at CSI. So what I want to do is just take a moment to thank everybody who's made these broadcasts special here as far as our volleyball broadcasts are concerned. Across the way at the table, across from us, a great statisticians crew of Tom Krichkowski. Of course, you've lent your efforts there. Sal Caruso, Sam Flecker, Joe Messia, Juliana Cretella, Christina Severizzo is also down there. Our line judges, Andrea Campora has done a great job. Our photographers, Brian Wong, Sean Fitzpatrick, they've done just a tremendous job all season long. Want to say thank you to Ina Wong, who's been engineering for us during volleyball season and soccer season as well, has done an extraordinary job. To Mike Babuski, who actually threw himself on a volleyball broadcast this year. We want to thank him. And Joe, I want to thank you for all your efforts, obviously, through the year as one of our, number one voices here on Sportsnet. The fans have been great, and who I really need to thank more than anybody else, Joe, is the people at home who continue to give us a home here on CSI Sportsnet. Our numbers for volleyball this year have been absolutely through the roof. They've dwarfed some of our soccer numbers, if you can believe it. We just got a lot of good contingent from other teams as well. So and our side has just been improving. Our volleyball broadcasts have been sensational. So I want to thank the entire crew here at the College of Staten Island, of course, and we're happy to bring it to you all. So from all of us at CSI to all of you, we wish you a great night. Thank you for a tremendous season. Be sure to tune in to CSIDolphins.com for all the latest on CSI volleyball and everything else in between. For everybody here at CSI, good night, everybody. Once again, your final score, Baruch College 3 and CSI nothing.